Holy cow. You guys, who wasn't bobbing their heads right then? I just couldn't stop dancing, man.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stanton Moore.
Right on.
Yes, thank you so much for coming out.
Man, great to be here.
Everybody, Stanton, if you guys don't know, he is the drummer for Galactic. He has also done a number of books and DVDs. Groove Alchemy is your recent one, I guess. And that song that he just played opening is one of the play-alongs to that pack, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right. That was called Pie-Eyed Mank.
Sorry?
Pie-Eyed Mank.
Pie-Eyed Mank. Okay,
Yep.
That's a great song. I'm going to have to get it myself.
Yeah.
So how you doing, man?
Really good, man. I'm glad to be up here.
Yeah.
It's been fun hanging out with you guys today and talking drums, playing drums. So, yeah.
Yeah. For all of you guys who don't know, on Drumeo Edge, we're actually doing a course with a Stanton as well, just on New Orleans drumming. This, our free event, our live lesson, is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be on musical mileage. Why don't you explain quickly what musical mileage is to you and what this whole lesson is about?
Musical mileage is the concept that I apply to the notion of taking one simple idea and stretching it and getting as much mileage or as many different ideas and as much creativity as you possibly can out of this idea. And what I'm going to show today, these aren't things that I came up with in one sitting. It's not something I came up with in a couple of weeks. This stuff is front engineered, reverse engineered, and then over time, you start to piece these things together and you start to realize, oh, wow, I can do that with that one little thing. And you're hanging out with your buddy and you're trading. He's like, wait a minute, stop, show me that. What is that? And he shows you, and you're like, wait a minute. I understand what that is. I know what that is. That is just that one little thing that I already know.
Yeah.
So eventually, you start to amass this vocabulary where you understand all these different things that are possible and all these things that have been done by other people, all these things that you can do and modify and vary for your own use out of one simple idea.
It's a cool topic, cool concept. I know we were talking about it on the phone before we were coming out here, and creativity is actually one of the most asked questions I find. You know, how do I come up with new beats? How do I become more creative? How do I take it to the next level type of thing? So really cool stuff, and I can't wait to get into it, but I just got to do some housekeeping first. First, for everybody who's here, if you have any questions for Stanton, we are accepting questions. There's a box below the video, submit a question. Most of you already know it, but if you didn't, that's how you get your questions in. The chat's going to be going crazy. We're almost maxed out, so you might not be able to get anything seen on there by me, so submit your question below. If there's anybody new here, welcome. Glad you can make it. And if you want to check out more on Stanton and Galactic, galacticfunk.com is the name of his band's website, and then stantonmore.com, you can find more info on him as well. So, but yeah, let's just get to it, because I know this is going to take a lot of time. We have a ton to talk about. So why don't you just dive into musical mileage?
Yeah. So I've applied this concept to a lot of things over time. People have seen me talk about some of the different stickings that I use, how to get all kinds of different ideas out of simple stickings. And so lately, I've been asked a lot about rudiments and to demonstrate, how I apply them and stuff. So I thought for today, it would be very interesting to take one very simple rudiment that on paper, you might look at it and you might say, well, what can I do with that? And how can we make that musical? But I'm going to show you today how we can take one of these very simple things and make it musical. So today we're going to talk about the three-stroke rough. Some people call it the drag, some people call it the rough, some people call it, different things, and it doesn't really matter what you call it. Yeah. It's just one little entity of a musical cell, rhythmic cell that we can turn into a lot of ideas. So the way that it would be written on paper, it could be written as a left diddle into a right stroke. Okay? So then you play it off the left hand. And you can play it hand to hand. Now, Alan Dawson's Rudimental Ritual, this is the first thing. Okay? And he plays it with a bossa nova bass drum. All off the right hand for 4 measures and all off the left.
Okay.
Not a lot of music happened there.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do? And then, as I said, in a rudimental context, you can play it hand to hand as well. what are we going to do to make this musical? Well, first of all, we're going to take it all off the right hand.
Okay.
Now, we're going to loosen up the phrasing, okay? And we're going to do what Joe Morello calls in his book, I think it's called Rudimental Jazz. He talks about triplet phrasing or jazz phrasing. So we're going to take it from the strict rudimental phrasing or military phrasing, and we're going to loosen it up. Now, I like to morph this so that you can learn all the aspects and all the little phrasings in between. Okay. So I'm going to start it with the military phrasing, then we're going to loosen it up into a more triplet-based or jazz phrasing. Okay. And you know, just because we call it jazz phrasing doesn't mean, you know, I just call it triplet phrasing.
Sure.
So you can use this, I'm going to show you how you can use this in all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
So here we go.
Okay, yeah.
Now, let's take it with its triplet phrasing, and one of the things that I like to do first thing when I'm learning something new is take and make a 3-note phrase out of it, okay? So a lot of the great jazz drummers have done this, and we can take, you know, to me, this has been said before, but I really subscribe to this, that jazz is the teacher, funk is the preacher. For me, right?
Okay,
I learn a lot of stuff from the jazz greats and then turn it into what I do.
Yeah.
So in this case, Max Roach, Philly Joe Jones, Elvin Jones, Tony Williams, the list goes on and on. These guys take and make 3-note phrases out of things, right? So right now, we're just going to take this little 3-note, 3-stroke rough, and we're going to make a 3-note phrase out of it.
Okay.
Okay, so. Now let's play it as triplets. Now let's use it as a fill.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you take it, let's pick it up in tempo.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, you told me earlier we want to give people something that they're going to run away from this and sit down at the drums.
Yeah.
You could sit down at the drums and just make up stuff right off the bat just with that, right?
Okay.
So, right? Right?
So you're just taking that 3-stroke rough or the drag, and you are putting it into a 3-note phrase. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're adding just some sort of bass and some hi-hat time, and just kind of improvising.
Yeah, exactly. Improvising. And now, you know, for me, I'll improvise over the mambo bass drum pattern. But you can. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It could be something, you know, it takes a little independence to get to where you can play it over the mambo bass drum pattern.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm trying to show you that you can make music without having it to be a complicated kind of thing. If it's a challenge for you to play it over the mambo bass drum pattern, then don't worry about that, you know? You can just play the right foot with the right hand. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Before you move on, actually, there's a cable in your camera, if you don't mind moving it.
Over here, I know. This thing keeps wanting to do that to us today.
There we go.
So, now, another thing we can do, this is something that Johnny Vodakovich taught me about, and he calls this lazy left hand. And what this means is you're just going to let the left hand buzz on the drum. And it's not supposed to sound clean. It's supposed to sound just it's supposed to sound pretty dirty and nasty and fill up space, okay?
Yep.
So what we're going to do is now we're going to play this what was a 3-note rough or drag, and now we're just going to take that, and now we're going to start buzzing it. So here it is from the military to the triplet to the buzz.
Okay.
Now, make 3-note phrases out of that. Now, one of the things I love to do at the end of phrases is just, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I played it straight in the right hand on the snare with lazy left hand. Then I moved it around with the lazy left hand, doing a 3-note phrase. Then I did triplets, coming back, 3-note phrase, cascading upwards.
Now, is there a specific tempo with that lazy hand technique that like too slow is impossible to do type of thing?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
All right,
just
let's
loosen
see.
up the snares.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Yeah.
Now, as I just showed you, you can change the value of it too. So I went.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
That's still the same. So I'm kind of destroying the 3-note rough, right? But I'm just playing lazy left hand. And what I'm showing you is you can get as far away from this stuff as you want. You don't have to play it like you see it in the book. So I just went. Quarter note triplets, and what was that? Well, it was 1/8 notes, quarter note triplets, and then into
16ths.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
8 triplets, 16ths.
Yeah.
That's what it was. 8 triplets,
Yeah.
16ths at a slow tempo. But and then I moved around the drums at the end. The point is that we're still talking about elementally the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's where things start to get really fun.
Okay.
Now, thinking if it's triplets. So if we're at a funk tempo, it would be 16th note triplets. Okay. Now, that's with the right hand all on 8th notes. Now, what if we take and put it on the upper partial? So you put the accent on the 3rd partial of the triplet. In this case, 16th note triplet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay? So slow. That's down. Now we're going to bring it up.
Gotcha.
Now we're going to let the right foot follow the right hand. You don't always have to play your melodic phrases downward. You can play them upward.
Yeah.
Okay? Now that's just at a slow tempo. All right? Now, we can also use this in jazz, right? So here it is, same tempo.
Unreal. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to play 8th notes on the left foot, like I like to do in a funk context, okay? Let's pick it up in tempo a little bit. Then I'll slow it back down and demonstrate. But check this out. All I'm doing is playing the 3-note rough, triplet phrasing, the right hand is playing the upbeat, okay, of the third partial, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're just going from. Okay?
Yeah, gotcha.
But I'm going to let the right foot follow the right hand.
Okay.
And I'm going to play eighth notes here. So one, so boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, right here. So.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Right?
Totally, yeah. So now do that a little bit slower.
Yep. Okay. So now a little bit slower. Even slower?
Even slower, yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And you guys, what are you doing? I know Fred in the chat says I'm a little lost here, especially at the faster tempo there. And you're sticking with that 3-note, right, left, left, right, left, left the whole time. And right now, what you're doing is just changing where you're putting that single accent.
Now, is it Fred you said?
Yes.
Lost? Okay, Fred. Yeah. Check this out. We're going to slow it down, and we're going to put this. We're going to change it from a funk thing to a jazz thing. Okay. So, a shuffle.
Shuffle. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we are in a shuffle, and I'm just going to play it on downbeats. Then I'll play it on upbeats.
Okay.
Hopefully this will make a little bit more sense.
Okay.
Slow tempo. Everybody in check, I was playing the bass drum there. Now I'm going to move it and go bass drum with the right hand. First I'll start here, then I'll move it.
Okay.
First I'll play the hand down, right hand on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll play 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. Let the right hand will go there, okay? Yeah. But the foot will stay the same. Then I'll let the foot follow the right hand.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's cool. I think he's getting the idea. I see him in the chat right now too, but that was a lot clearer, especially with the slow it down.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to take it shuffle.
Okay.
Then I'm going to move it into a funk thing.
Okay.
Okay? Starting to make a little bit more sense?
Yep.
Now, that all being said, now that people are starting to understand it, let me show you what happens when you start to take it up a little bit in tempo. Now, what I like to do with this is take the diddles. Sometimes I'll accent a diddle to make a 3-note phrase. All right, pick it up in tempo a little bit. Make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So just play it on the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right?
Okay.
So I'm accenting the diddle. Okay, that's pretty hip.
Yeah.
Especially when you're over here.
crazy thing is it's the same drag, rough rudiment, no doubt.
Exactly.
So we've talked a little bit about changing the note value, changing the accent of it, playing it in a different, like the let of the triplet, and the quarter note. Now accenting the diddle. I think that's probably one of my favorites right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's something cool too.
Okay.
Instead of accenting the diddle, you just play an accent, just one note.
Okay.
So.
So almost treating it like a backbeat a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But still make it a 3-note phrase.
Yeah.
Now, just as you said, treating it like a backbeat, check this out.
Okay. Nice.
Now, I'm going to take that up in tempo. I'm going to start with it as a backbeat, then I'll let it evolve into a 3-note phrase. Check this out.
Yes, love it. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, with Galactic, I have the 26-inch bass drum over here.
Yeah.
So I'll move my right foot over to the 26-inch bass drum.
Okay.
And then I'll have a double pedal, and then I'll just straddle the hi-hat and the left side of the double pedal.
Mm.
So then now I've got the 20 is being feathered by the left foot, and then the right foot is playing the accents on the 26. So all it does is just add a feathering to this hi-hat, and then when you do that, then you really start to get a big ruckus happening.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So just trying to, I don't have the extra bass drum and the double pedal today, but I'm just trying to say how far you can stretch these things.
Yeah.
Right?
So give us an example here. So we've talked about the 3-stroke rough quite a bit. I know we wanted to kind of stick with that, but what if I were to give you another pattern, like maybe like a Rudiment or like a Paradiddle or something like that? Can you show us an example of one of those, applying just some of the concepts you talked about to get more mileage out of a single thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a whole nother lesson, Dave.
Uh-oh, what have I done?
You're opening up Pandora's box.
What have I done?
But all right, since you said, okay, Paradiddle.
Okay,
right?
sure.
All right,
yeah.
Paradiddle. But to me, strict paradiddles are cool, but on the drum set, the most used and the most useful thing I've found is paradiddle, left, right, right, left. Okay, so slow. Okay, tighten up the snares. All right, that's number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's Stick Control, okay? Idris Muhammad got to it by checking out the Mardi Gras Indians. And they would play this rhythm on cowbell and tambourines.
So cool. We're talking about the Paradiddle, and then you just busted that out. That was so cool.
Now, check this out. Thank you. I'm glad you're digging that. Now,
yeah, absolutely.
Check it out. Because I'm doing this. This is a whole nother lesson, Dave. But Idris Muhammad took that rhythm, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, boom. He put it on the hi-hat, okay? Then he filled in the left hand. Then he added accents and buzzes.
Yeah.
What is that sticking? It is paradiddle, left, right, left.
No kid.
Idris Muhammad just got to it in a much hipper, more practical way from the Mardi Gras Indians.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking stickings. He was thinking, I love this rhythm from the Mardi Gras Indians. I'm going to fill it in with the left hand. But it just so happens to be number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's Stick Control. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Steve Gadd, right, young kid in Rochester, New York, started coming into the studio scene, and he has cited that Idris Muhammad was an influence. So, Steve Gadd, some of what he does, all right. When I first started looking at that, I said, what in the world is that? Slowed it down, realized that what he was doing was the same thing as number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's Stick Control.
No way.
Also the same thing as Idris Muhammad. But I put this together over years. So now it's the same sticking in the front as it is in the back. Double time in the front, regular time in the back. Fast in the front, slow in the back. It's like a musical mullet.
Yeah.
It's a drumming mullet.
That's in the front slow. A musical mullet. I love it. Yeah.
So now, now, Idris's groove in the back and Steve Gadd's groove in the back is still the same thing.
Yeah.
Paradiddle, right, paradiddle, left, right, left. But Steve Gadd's double timing it in the front. It's all one idea. Paradiddle, left, right, left. Okay? It's a paradiddle variation. Now, I could go on and on and on about this, but, you know, Stuart Copeland, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, that's coming from this little sticking, you know, which is Stuart Copeland, I think, got it from listening to Lloyd Knibb of the Scotalites. And Lloyd Knibb, you know, I learned this from my friend Gil Sharon, you know, Wicked Beats. So here's a little ska beat that Lloyd Knibb would do. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is all still the same rhythm that we're talking about, that Idris Muhammad picked up from the Mardi Gras Indians.
So how do you get to that stage? I mean, because most of our members watching can play a paradiddle. Most of our members can probably play a drag, right? But how do we take it to that creative stage where now you're grooving, now you're cooking with something?
Same way you get to Carnegie Hall.
Same way. Take a right.
Practice.
Practice.
Now, as I said, you know, practicing doesn't necessarily mean just sitting at the drum set, right? You can do this, you know, I do a lot of my practicing in my mind, I guess you could say, which drives my wife nuts. But because, you know, it seems like I'm out in space or it seems like I'm daydreaming.
I think that's happened a couple times when you've been out here already, too.
Oh, yeah. You'll ask me a question. I seem like I go off in space. I'm just putting together in my mind exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So you can, you know, the physical aspect of drumming is one thing, but the understanding of it and the concept, you know, the conceptualization of it is another thing. So, you know, I piece together a lot of this stuff over time, and a lot of it are these things that I call the Asians, right? So when I realized that, wait a minute, Steve Gadd, what he's doing that I had no idea what he was doing, I realized, wait, that's a sticking I already know. That was a realization, okay? Then when I make up my own stickings based out of this stuff, those are variations. And then when you take and you apply this in different ways, those are applications. So I apply all these variations to things that I'm learning, you know? And, making something into a 3-note phrase, that's a variation. You're varying it to make it into a 3-note phrase. So these are all creative processes that I apply to the things that I'm learning. So if I learn one thing, I can instantly or very quickly turn it into very useful things for me, and through this process that I've been going through for years.
Quite a while, yeah.
But you just kind of have to be obsessed with it and live it, eat it, breathe it, and...
So is there like if for example, like the 3-stroke rough, is there like a checklist that maybe you can put on your wall or just internalize or memorize and say, okay, well, I've got this pattern, now what are the 3 or 4 different ways that I can kind of manipulate or vary it, variation or something like that? Is there anything like that you can kind of think of or that goes through your head or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things is play it all off of one hand.
Okay.
Okay? That way you can get around the drums pretty easily with it, okay? So, I was taught the 3-stroke rough too. I think the way I was originally taught it was hand to hand. Right? But trying to play that around the drums, it's not going to really work too great. I think I've just done a pretty good job of showing how playing it all off the right hand, you can really get around the drums. Take something like, this is really getting... we're trying to cram a lot in here. But
I know, yeah.
But, the blushta, right?
Yeah.
To me, I explain the blushta as, first you take the flam accent. Then you play it all off of one hand. Play it off the left hand. And it works because it's really a collapsed right, left, right, left. Right, left, right, left. Then, to get to the blushta, you just diddle the middle. Slow, for all of those of you who've always wondered what the blushta is. Right? Okay, and then you can move it all around the drums. But that's all it is.
Yeah.
Is a flam accent all off the left hand, diddle in the middle. That's the way I explain it. So play it all off the left hand. Learn how to play it as, if it's a 3-note thing, as I did just then, learn how to play it as triplets and as 3/16 notes over 4.
Okay? Yeah.
So... I played it as 16th note triplets at the end, but it was 3 over 4 and then 16th note triplets. We're moving fast, Dave, because you're trying to get me to fit a lot in. But we'll get to that in a minute. But this, so yeah, I mean, to me, like I could show you, a bunch of different ways that I play the blushta, or a bunch of different ways, which we don't have time to do that today. But I find that it's really useful to take one element and learn how to do a bunch of things with it. Make it your own. Some of them will be your own things. Some of them you'll recognize, hey, my buddy just did that, and it's just a variation of that thing I already know. And then you start to accumulate these things that if what you're doing is based off of something you're already pretty comfortable with, well, then you're going to assimilate it. You're going to own it that much quicker.
Yeah.
To me, a lot of the great masters do this. They have their few things that they can really, really morph into any musical situation, but they have their isms. Gad has his Gad isms. Even Elvin, Elvin has He has his things that he does, and he, of course, can put them into 1,000 million different things.
Yeah.
Bonham,
Yeah.
they all had their little things. They weren't reinventing the wheel every time they sat down. They had their things that they were comfortable with, and they could fit those into many different musical situations. But I say find the things that interest you or that you do comfortably, and then learn how to do lots of things with them instead of learning a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And only being able to do a few things. Learn a few things and be able to do a bunch of things.
That's a great way to look at it too. Like you said, the whole title, the concept, musical mileage, it just makes a lot of sense, And I was one of those people that would take out books and go online and try and find like just odd stuff, when I didn't even have half of the chops that you had with one of your little licks or one of your little 3-stroke roughs. Just, you can take it so far. But I also get what you mean by it being like a head thing and a mind thing. You have to have that click, that connection between, okay, that's what a triplet 3-stroke rough would feel like if it's applied against this. And I can see that being a big light bulb that needs to turn on, I guess. And depending on where you're at, it might take, who knows how long it'll take before that happens, I guess. Right?
Yeah. And it's like, this is a little kind of quirky or silly way to explain things, but I look at, musical ideas when you start to try to process them. It's kind of like an elephant. If you walk into a room and there's an elephant, well, you're not going to fully understand what an elephant looks like all at one time. You can touch his front knee and his foot, but then that doesn't mean that you know what the back of the elephant looks like, or at the top of the elephant, or the back of his ear, or the trunk. So the more that you look at this thing from as many different angles as possible, the more you start to understand what an elephant actually is.
I see.
So that's why I try to take little musical cells, and I look at them from as many different angles as possible. And this happens over years, And then when I make a realization, oh wait, what Gad's doing right there is this little musical cell I already know. I just got to learn how to play it twice as fast now.
Yeah. That's when you go back to the practice pad in the woodshed and you just practice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Really cool concept. We're going to get to some questions here, if you don't mind, because we've got a ton of them coming in, and I don't want to take too much of your time, because I know sometimes these go over an hour just because there's just so much to talk about. But do you mind if I challenge you maybe with something? Do you mind if I challenge you to play like a solo or some sort of group, but only using, say, the 3-stroke rough? And just show us how creative you can be just by using one concept.
Yep, I'm going to do that. And then I might also use just a stroke, right?
Okay.
So anything that I do besides just hitting the drum will be a 3-stroke roll, a 3-stroke rough. Now, I'm going to change the value of it. I'm going to open it, close it, buzz the diddles, play it as quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, upbeat 16th notes, all kinds of different things. But this little solo is going to be based off of the 3-stroke rough. And I'm going to try to make it as melodic as possible.
Cool.
All right.
Very cool.
Oh, also, what we didn't get into is playing it off the left hand, okay?
Yep.
But I'm going to be playing it off the left hand a little bit too.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, here we go.
awesome. All using the 3-stroke rough?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And space.
Yeah.
And dynamics. And hopefully some musicality. And a little bit of thematic development.
Yeah.
A little bit of melodic, very simple melodic ideas. I mean, I wasn't doing anything like Ari Honig, playing, specific melodies, changing the pitches of the drums.
Yeah.
I'm just playing a couple little super simple little melodic motifs around the drums, and hopefully guys are running to their drum sets right now.
Inspired. I'm freaking inspired. I have a couple ideas just based off of that solo that you did, stuff that I can do with my left foot too, instead of doing with my hand, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just a couple ideas that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about this.
Yeah.
Take it and do your thing with it, you know? Sure, you can learn a couple of the things that I do, but then the important thing is to use these things to spark your own creativity. And say, well, wait a minute, I could do this with it. Or, I can do that. I can, all these different things. I mean, we haven't even gotten into, things as simple as this, like kind of, this is a great way to fake the halftime shuffle, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
And I'll use that as a fill sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Sounds great.
And then, there's a whole bunch of ideas that I haven't even been able to show. But.
I'll let you catch your breath. I'm going to get to some questions here again, guys. If you want to get your questions in, get them in now. We have quite a few already, so we might not get to them all. And before I even get to that, I just want to also thank your sponsors, Gretsch and Vic Firth and Remo Heads bringing you out, helping bring them out and everything like that. And your Crescent cymbals. And if you guys check this out, I mean, doesn't that look crazy? It looks like you somebody played golf and hit with the golf balls along your cymbal. But this crash, it's a trash crash. It sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Very
versatile.
Not as cool as this. Do you want to talk a little bit about this quickly?
Yeah, this is my signature pandeiro. And, there are brilliant Brazilians all over the world probably cringing watching me hit this with a stick, but it's not designed to be a traditional Brazilian pandeiro. I love it because it sounds like a bass drum or floor tom with jingles, which references the New Orleans Mardi Gras Indian thing. So I'm always looking for unorthodox things to incorporate into my kit to make it my own. Hence this trash crash, which, we were talking about it earlier, developing it. They just kept coming back to it. To me, I said, it's not trashy enough. It's not. So I hit it really hard with a giant hammer about 7 times around the edge. And they did. And this cymbal's great because it'll work from everything from a piano trio to a heavy metal thing.
Yeah. Very cool, very definitive. You can just tap it, you get that sound from
it. Yeah.
But before, soon as he played this, soon as Stanton came in, we put a mic under it, and as soon as he played it, I was in the sound room, and I'm just like, I've got to go get one of those right now. So I want you to do one cool, quick beat playing this, just so they can hear how cool it is, because this is your signature. So just listen to this, and I guarantee you're gonna go get one. That's for sure. So cool. Does that not make you want to go get one? So that's really cool. I'm glad you brought that along and just shoved a mic. It's the deepest sounding, thinnest drum I've ever seen in my life. But and the one last thing I want to talk about before we get into the questions is you have your own.
instructional
site starting up very soon.
I do.
Do you want to just talk a little bit about that to tell everybody what it's about?
I'd love to. Yeah, you can go right now to stantonmoore.com, and right up on the home page, there's a little, right up in the top left of the home page, you can click and you can sign up to receive information. It's being built right now. I've just done 3 days of filming of new lessons. And so you can go right now, stantonmoore.com, check it out and sign up and get on our mailing list. It's going to let people know. But what the site is going to be is it's going to be, you can learn from me and my perspectives. And I was very fortunate to get asked by Mark Wessels, who is the Vic Firth webmaster. I was asked by Mark to do all the video lessons for his project, Fresh Approach to Drum Set. So I did. It's 33 lessons, 9 hours of material from here's how you hold a stick, all the way progressively through the entire foundational thing that you want to know about. So that's going to be up there for streaming. Then I'm going to be adding at least 2 new lessons a month, which, here's people have been asking me for years, demonstrate my buzz rules. That's lesson number 1.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first thing up there, how I developed my buzz rules, the 5 things I worked on. And then it'll say, well, if you're not quite to this level, then maybe you want to check out lesson number 4 or 5 or whatever it is in the Fresh Approach to Drum Set book. So there'll be a curriculum there, but then also you'll be able to take the new things I show, and I'll tell you where in the curriculum you can go to do special extra work. And then also we're going to film video lessons for Mark's snare drum book, Fresh Approach to Snare Drum. So by working through these things, if you start at the beginning, you'll learn snare drum technique, rudiments, how to read, and then with the drum set thing, it works you all the way through chart reading and play-alongs and all that. So that's all going to be there. Then all the new material that I show, all the things people have been asking me about for years, then I'll show where that all ties in as well. And then there'll be online live chats. There'll be a beat of the month where people will be able to submit their favorite beat of the time, and I'll pick a beat each month and not only put up their version, but put up my version.
That's really
cool.
And
have video reviews. People will be able to submit their own videos. So I'm really excited about it, and not to take up too much time with that.
No, absolutely. And guys, all the details are at stantonmoore.com. It's similar to kind of what Drumeo does, but it's structured different. It is a bit different of a curriculum, and it's all Stanton, right? So it's like if you really appreciate and really want to get into Stanton sets a little bit more, on Drumeo here we do just collaborative. We have all drummers of all styles and ages and stuff teaching through us, so a little bit different, but stantonmoore.com if you want to check out more. Let's get to questions, and then we'll get you to play us out with another play-along, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so I don't have time to go through all of them, but I'll try to get to a bunch of them. So Pingo, one of our members, longtime member, he says, can one learn feel? Can you learn feel, is what he asks.
I think you can. It helps if you have a natural knack for it. You can definitely improve your groove. You could definitely learn how to make things feel better. And for me, feel and phrasing and all these things are things that I worked on a lot,
Yeah.
I became kind of like for lack of a better word, a phrasing snob, you know? To where I was like, I'd listen to my own playing, just be like, I'm swinging it too much, and it would just irk me to no end.
Yeah.
So in some of the New Orleans lessons that we're talking about, we definitely pinpoint that.
Yeah.
So to me, feel has a lot to do with phrasing and where you're placing the smaller notes, the E's and the ahs, and how much you're swinging them or how straight you're playing them. That has a lot to do with feel, not so much as if you're playing on top of the beat or playing behind the beat. So we get into that in the New Orleans lessons. I think lesson number 2, right?
Yep. Developing New Orleans feel.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about that in Groove Alchemy and in Take It to the Street as well. So any of that stuff, and I'll be talking about it on my site.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is definitely possible. Here's one from a huge fan of yours. This is from Ermin Monzon. It says, hey, first of all, I just want to say your book, Groove Alchemy, is addicting and one of my favorite books.
Cool. Thank you.
Good on you for that. He says, the question is, with all major cymbal brands out there, Meinl, Paiste, Sabian, Zildjian, why the choice to go with Crescent cymbals?
Because our cymbals are made by our standards, which we think we have very high standards. Again, at the same time I was being a phrasing snob.
Yeah.
I was also being a cymbal snob.
Yeah.
Going to the Manhattan Drum Shop and all these places in New York and buying old Ks and having cymbal hangs and really learning about cymbals and talking with my buddies. And so when I got a chance to design my own cymbals, I had an idea for what I wanted. Now, a lot of people may not realize this, but one of my business partners, Jeff Hamilton, I think Jeff is the most knowledgeable guy I've ever met about cymbals. His knowledge about cymbals will blow your mind. I've learned so much from him. So he's an incredibly knowledgeable figure in cymbal making, cymbal cymbal sound, cymbal design. He's got cymbals that were given to him by Mel Lewis. I mean, wow. Ks, old Ks that, he got one and Kenny Washington got the other. They used to come in orchestral sets. I mean, Jeff has been a cymbal connoisseur for years and years and years and years, and he's talked with Shelly Manne and Philly Joe and all these guys about cymbals. So he's learned about them from the masters, and he's been an integral part of designing what we have at Crescent. And Michael Vosbein, our president, is incredibly knowledgeable. These guys have been in the cymbal business for years.
Yeah.
And I think that what we design with the knowledge that we have creates a very unique voice that we have. And it's up to people's personal preferences what they like. But I am very proud of what we've accomplished.
Yeah, they sound great.
And thank you. Yeah. And so if anybody hasn't checked them out yet, I would encourage people to definitely check them out.
And they look cool too, Jeff. That's just such a cool looking cymbal. I've never seen something like that. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Dave Warfel, one of our members, says that you play so many ghost notes and accents. How do you play a ghost note right after an accent with the same hand?
Again, same way that you get to Carnegie Hall.
Practice.
But really, I practiced stuff like this for hours, and I'm gonna show you slow. Okay. This is the Clyde Stubblefield stuff, and this will really give you a workout on the ghost note to accent thing. And I'm gonna do it with the left hand, and I'm gonna play a ghost note before the accent, then play the accent, and then play a ghost note after. This is really gonna work on your control.
Yeah.
And you do it with a metronome, and you don't worry about how fast you can do it. You worry about how quiet you can get that ghost note and how clean you can get. You don't want to get. You want to get it clean.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little tip.
Okay.
The more you tighten up the snares, the cleaner, crisper those little notes are going to be.
For some people, that might not be what they want. They want it a little bit looser, so it high.
Here it is, New Orleans guttural style.
Yeah.
That's too loose on purpose. But experiment with how tight the drum is. Like David Garibaldi, of course, is really great with the ghost notes, and Clyde Stubblefield is the master to me. And we're all just copying what he did with ghost notes, really.
Yeah.
But the tighter that you play, that you tune the drum, Clyde on all his classic ghost note stuff. I mean, listen to Soul Pride, parts 1 and 2, and listen to the drum break in that. And most drum and bass, a lot of drum and bass, is either coming from the Amen break or Soul Pride. Yeah. And a couple other things too, but a lot of it's coming from Soul Pride. And check out Clyde's ghost note work on that, and the drum is tuned very high.
Yeah,
and makes those little bitty notes very crisp.
Yeah, hopefully that helps you. Dexter Drummer has a question. He says, Stanton, how do you? Oh, we just kind of talked about this. How do you tune the snare? It sounds great.
Thank you. Well, I tune the snare differently for different things, but what I usually do is tune the bottom head almost as high as it'll go. On a metal drum, such as this is my Spirit of New Orleans titanium snare, which has this has a black coating on it, which is we're calling Galactic Black. I don't know. Can you see this in the overhead? There's my.
Yeah. In fact, if you go right to that camera right there, right by
here?
the tom, that's probably There you go.
There we go. Look at that.
Beautiful.
That's my
Stanton Moore company.
the badge.
Yeah.
And so this drum, I normally tune this up higher, and I like it for crack and backbeats.
Yeah.
But since I'm traveling and I'm only carrying one drum right now, I've got this drum with me, so I've tuned it a little bit lower today than I normally would. So I usually have a wood drum. I usually have like my Gretsch signature snare, and I usually have that and this with me, and I'll switch back and forth with Galactic. So the wood drum, again, bottom head is tuned super high, and then the batter head is kind of in the middle. That's on the wood drum, and then the titanium I tune it higher. Now that being said, I usually have the snares a little bit more cranked on the titanium drum, just for a crisper, more articulate backbeat that'll carry through the larger rooms we play. And then with the wood drum, the batter head's a little bit lower. It's in the medium range, and then the snares, I like them to be a little looser and get more of a slushier sound. A lot more of the buzz roll stuff and all that kind of stuff. But since today I've just got this drum, I've kind of got it in the medium range, and I'm just kind of adjusting the snares.
Which is crazy. We just talked about on the course that we're doing how much of a difference it makes when you loosen and tighten your snare wires with that snare. So.
And especially with this drum, which Ron Dinette has made, and it's got a super wide snare bed. So with a super wide snare bed, you get a lot more range.
Yeah. Okay, keep going with the questions. We got quite a few more, and we'll go for a little bit longer, but then we will cut it off. So Kevin says, Stanton, what do you think the most important or key thing to practice to play in a more traditional New Orleans style?
Most key thing to practice would be the notion of playing in between the cracks. And that we explain in lesson 2 of the New Orleans course, right? And, should I demonstrate that right now, or should I tell them to go check out the course?
Go and check out the Drumeo course, because we're running low on time.
Yeah, but it's all about the phrasing.
Yeah.
So I explain that in depth in part 2. Also explain it in depth in Groove Alchemy and Take It to the Street too, if you want to get really in depth.
There you go. Yeah.
So, but to me, the most important thing about the New Orleans stuff, whether it's second line or funk or Mardi Gras Indians, it's all got to be about the phrasing.
Yeah. Okay. And if for guys who don't know, like we're talking about a course we do now inside of Drumeo, I know most of you guys who watch us live every Monday, we do live lessons every day, but now we're also doing courses as well, which is pre-film curriculum, and Stanton Moore has done one with us on New Orleans drumming, and that should be released probably by late summer. We're just going to do some editing on it, but that's what he's talking about when he says number 2 on the course. So a couple last minute questions. This one's from P3 Eyeball. Okay, he says, what warm-up exercise do you do before a gig? I got my wrist injured, so I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's an important issue.
Yeah, well, there is a warm-up that I do, and it's all triplet-based, and I break this down on my site. It's going to be one of the newer lessons. I could play it, but nobody's going to understand it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Fair enough.
Playing it.
Yeah.
But it's, it's a whole series of triplets and diddles and stuff, and not to try to force you into my site, but we're running out of time. But I do explain it there, so it's going to be up soon. And but it's a cool little triplet exercise that I've developed over the years.
Sweet. Well, actually, I'm interested in that too, so I'll be definitely checking that out.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do one more here, and then we'll get you to play us out. Okay, this one is from Christian from Argentina. It says, hello, Stanton. Can you suggest some ways to, here we go, to better develop buzz rolls? Because your buzz rolls are sick, and I know you keep saying that's the first thing you learn and you say, but this is one that I actually want you to quickly go over right now, if you don't mind.
All right, there's 5 things, and I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna go through them quickly.
Okay,
right.
sure.
First thing is the triple stroke roll. Okay, and the triple stroke roll develops power and control for the buzz roll. Okay, so I would play them like this. Now, to get to that, you got to play them slower. You got to work up to it. And then, you know, lesson number 1 on my new site, the first new lesson, I play it at slower tempos and work up incrementally to where you can play it with me and all this kind of stuff. So triple stroke roll, that's thing number 1. Thing number 2, 88 beats per minute, play right, left, right, left, right, left, super crushed buzz rolls. And then you elongate, elongate, elongate until you're going for a seamless buzz roll, which is going to be very hard when your hands are pulsing that slow. Then you come all the way back through the spectrum.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to way more depth on the new stuff coming out. And then, okay, now you add accents to that. So let's just take Hey Pocky Way. Do the same exercise, but now with accents. Thing number 4 is a power exercise, where you set the metronome to about 60 beats per minute, and you're throwing the hands into the drum as hard as you can.
Okay.
You might want to do this on a pad because it's going to drive people nuts.
Okay. Very cool exercise.
And you want as much power as you possibly can get, because and then let the sticks bounce for as long as you can. And that's going to develop your power, because you know when you get on your first outdoor stage on a festival concert, you don't want your buzz rolls to sound like this. You want
very cool.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the power exercise. And then the triple stroke roll is also going to work on power. 5th thing is Johnny Vodakovich showed me this, and I hated it at first, but rotate the sticks in the hand, go this way, go that way, go in, go out. Okay, so go in, out, right, left. Again, about 60 beats per minute. You want to think of the sticks almost as brushes, but you want to think of no tension in the arms.
Okay. So why did you hate that when you first started?
Because, I was just going to say why. Because I thought it sounded terrible.
Yeah.
And I was trying to insert perfect orchestral buzz rolls, and Johnny would cringe. I'd go play something like this. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And so that exercise Johnny showed me, it is designed to help you loosen up your grip. Not necessarily develop your buzzes, although you are buzzing. But what it did is it broke me of the notion that things needed to sound perfect. And I embraced the gnarly, nasty, raw sound of a buzz roll. And then once I reined it in a little bit, then I was able to really use the buzzes to my advantage. Once I realized that hearing the pulses in the buzzes on the drum set was beautiful. Don't do that if you're playing in the orchestra at school. But on the drum set, pulses in the buzz are beautiful.
Yeah. It sounds great in your playing. You did that on your first play along too. You accented the shots, but you're doing it in a buzz, which I would have never have thought to do.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So we'll leave it at that because we've got more questions, but it's already 5:15, and I still want to get you to play us out.
Great.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much.
Man, thank you.
You are always welcome here at Drumeo, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Absolutely. And you guys check out StantonMoore.com to check out all of his details on his new site he's launching. And do us all a favor and him a favor. Go to Facebook.com/StantonMoreMusic and like him. I believe it's Stanton Moore Music. Yes, it is. And like his page. Okay?
Very cool.
And you can check out more updates that he's going to be doing through Facebook as well if you wanted. And you want to play us out with something?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to play out with another one of the play-alongs from
Groove Alchemy?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. What's the song called, by the way, in case people want to hear it?
This is called Pot Liquor.
Pot Liquor. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Hope you got a lot from this lesson. I certainly did. And if you want to hear more about Drumeo and learn more about our daily live lessons, just email me, david@drumeo.com. Check out Stanton Moore's website, and I'll see you guys all later.